Hey, what's up? This is your girl Diamond. How are you? So, we're going to talk about a connection between cis women and trans women and intimate partner violence. And I kind of want us to make um, the connection. I have some examples that I think we should be able to talk about, and we can go from there. My name is Diamond Stylz. I usually go live every Friday at 7. It's hot as shit in my apartment because my air conditioning is out and they got to come fix it tomorrow. And it's hot as shit. Mm, mm. So this fan feels good. I'm not just trying to be fabulous. Ah, Hey, Gigi. The panel was so good tonight. Thank you for coming and checking it out. Are you in the dark? No, I'm not in the dark. I have my lights on. The sun is down, so it's probably gonna just cool out now. But and I want this is the Mahogany Project fan. I love them. Hey CL, how was everybody's week? I've been gone. I haven't did a live with y'all since last week. Not from my home, because I've been gone. Oh, the shadow from your fan makes a shadow that looks like candle flickering. Oh no, it's my normal lights. And my towel. I'm looking all glowy and glistening. I like to be dewy, but not this dewy, honey. I haven't seen a few years back in August. It was horrible. Yes, honey. I don't know what they got going on. I'm getting over the COVIDs. Oh no. Hey, hey, Ty. But yeah, Gigi, thank you for coming to listen to the panel. Wasn't it good? I love when I'm on a panel with like really competent, great thinkers. It's so amazing. I love it. That all have something powerful to contribute. Ah, sometimes you be on panels and people you be like, oh. You kind of just regurgitating what somebody else already said. But yeah, I just love doing work with competent people. But thank you for joining us. Black Feminist Futures, they do really great content, and when they are organizing something, it usually is nice. So if you see them do something else, make sure you check it out. It's usually on point. Justin, you haven't been having your mask on and social distancing. Are you vaccinated? Yes, there was no pulling teeth. Everybody was well versed and shared articles and other resources to support their points. I wanted one of your cocktails, right? I didn't want to. I was on there. I didn't want to be the fab. I didn't want to. If you was paying attention, I was having my fan like this because I didn't want to seem like the trans woman on the panel trying to be fabulous. But I was hot as hell. You know, you on this panel of nothing but cis women, and you bring out the fan like a drag queen. Talk about Fabulous. I didn't want to do it, but at first I tried to be slick about it and kind of fan myself from over here where they can't see it. But then I was like, fuck this shit. Right. Oh my God. I am vaccinated. Oh, that's good. I have been a little lazy with the mask. I went home to New Orleans for a graduation, came back on the baby. I know that's right. We was worried about Rona when we was coming back because if you got the Rona, you can't come back to the United States. Honey, so they make you get tested before you get on the plane to come over. You gotta show your negative results. So the night, so in London, the first 2 nights I was in London, I didn't know how to work the um the air conditioning. So I couldn't. I kept pushing it down. I kept pushing it up where it wouldn't be so cold, but it kept dropping back down, and I didn't know how to work the machine. It was like not doing what it was supposed to be fucking doing. And so I would push it to where push the degrees up, and it's in Celsius and not Fahrenheit, or I can't remember one of them two. It's not what we use, and so I had kept pushing it up, and that motherfucker kept dropping down like it wasn't locking to where I wanted to be. So it would go down to where the air conditioning was on. So I was freezing and it was cold. And so I was freezing and didn't know how to work it. And so I wake up just fully congested. How was the food in France? It was amazing. It was really good. It's the quality. It's not really like the cooking technique that was great. It's the quality of food that was great. Like the strawberries, the fruit, the meat, everything just felt like it was organic and nice because they have more regulations when it comes to food. So it just don't seem like you got a bunch of fake shit. Anyway, so I'm congested, right? So I'm congested for I sleep in this cold ass room in when the outside is cold and the room is cold. So I'm freezing under the covers. I get really, really congested and just it's horrible. So from that on to when we went to Nice, I'm coughing like because it takes for what I don't know whatever reason. If I stay in a cold climate, if it stays cold and it's not hot, my body the congestion don't leave my body for a long time. So like now that I'm in Houston and it's hot, I don't have any congestion. But in Nice and in France and shit, it was cold when we first got there. The last couple of days were warm, but when we first got there, it was cold as shit, and it never like warmed up. It was like 60s, 70s, and so hey, Brandon, and so it never got warm until the end. So we thinking maybe I done caught COVID. So we was worried about. I didn't think so, but my friend was like, "Oh, we gotta test you, girl," because we brought some tests that our Biden COVID tests to over with us. And so she was like, "Girl, come on, we gotta test." And so she tested, and I was negative, and she was negative. I was like, bitch, I told you I was negative," because I know what it was from. And so we went and got tested to make sure that we could fly, and it was all good, and we weren't COVID free. But we were COVID free, but we was worried about it because you stuck in another country and you gotta pay for them 10 days because you gotta stay quarantined for 10 days. Yeah, probably because I'm really used to Houston's humidity and heat, and it's always warm, and we only get like a month and a half of cold. So we went up there, and baby, I was freezing. Like my homegirl, she was like, "Oh, this is just how San Francisco weather is." I was like, "Child, Well, I'm from Houston. This is not, and you would think that my body would be kind of used to it since I grew up in Indiana and Boston. But now that I've been down here for almost 15 years, this is November will be 15 years. Child, my body says to the cold, no, thank you. Oh. All right, so let's get into the conversation. So, what the conversation is about today is about us making the connection between trans women and cisgender women in intimate partner violence or the structure, the prison industrial complex, all these systems that kind of affect us when it comes to violence against our bodies, violence against um, sexual violence, physical violence, the carceral state committing violence against us. So I wanted to talk about some. I wanted to point out some of the cases that are so similar. Um, because I think it's really important for us to be, I think it will behoove us, trans women and cis women, to really come together and understand that while there are some women who are cisgender women who are turfy and want to act like our experiences are so different, they are not. Um, there are some different elements, but there are a lot, when it comes to the oppression against us, there is a lot of similarities. Um, some acknowledgeable differences, but it's the similarities that I think we got to focus on to be able to dismantle some of the violence that we experience. Okay, so I want to kind of um, talk about some very very similar cases that almost not exactly mirror each other, but very very similar type. Some of them mirror each other, but very very similar type cases, and discuss them with y'all. And yeah, and then we talk about it. All right, you ready? And then I want y'all to share some of y'all experiences as well. All right, so the first two cases that I want to talk about, I want to talk about Janissa Taulton Jackson. So Janissa Taulton Jackson is a 29-year-old mother of two who was killed by Charles McKinney, 41, after he attempted to talk to her inside a bar in Pittsburgh. She declined, simply declined, and then left the bar to go to her car. When he catches her, the cameras catching this all on the cameras caught this all on camera. He catches her at her car and shoots her and kills her. All because she declined to get, to talk to him and him get her number. And she's at a bar thinking that, oh, I came here to get a drink and now I'm about to go home to my kids or da 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 da. And she gets murdered because she declined his advance. Hmm, interesting. So let's talk about Isla Nettles. Isla Nettles was walking down the street in Harlem and was being catcalled by a group of guys. And being that she was a trans woman, and I guess she might not have been interested, or she just didn't want, for whatever reason, Isla Nettles decided to say, "Yeah, I'm a trans woman. Leave me alone." As somebody who has lived trans experience, I've done that, thinking that if you say that you're trans, they're kind of leave you alone or whatever. That don't always work. Sometimes it make them um, get more disrespectful, or they sneak and try to holler at you on the low or whatever, or they keep following you or something like that. But I used to think sometimes when you say that, it'll deter them, especially if it's a group. But instead of in Isla Nettles' case, instead of it deterring them, James Dixon um, decides to be an asshole and violently attack her and pushes her so hard that she falls down on the ground and hits her head on the concrete, and she goes into a coma, and a week later she ends up dying. So beats her to death. And yeah, because In his words, he says he had got tricked by a trans woman like a week before, and he did not want to get tricked again. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me because she's literally telling you that she's a trans woman and you attack her. But he gets 12 years for attacking her. And I want to kind of point out those two cases, Janissa Taulton, who got murdered at the bar, and Isla Nettles, because I think those are similar in ways. If you look at the details of the case, they're similar in ways that these women did what society tells us to do in circumstances like this. So with Janissa, Janissa, from the reports from the people who are also in the bar, from the reports, she just was so nice. She was like, no, thank you. I'm not interested. She didn't cuss him out. She didn't do anything like that. She just wasn't interested. Was like, no, thank you. I'm not interested. And letting him down easy. I'm not interested. Simple as that. And he kept going and kept going. And she was like, you know what? This is ruining my vibe. So I'm going to get up out of here and go on about my business and go ahead. This is my cue to go home. And instead of letting her go home, she gets murdered by this asshole because he couldn't take rejection. And then Isla Nettles, listen, how many times as trans women have we heard, just be honest, just tell the truth. As soon as somebody try to holler at you, you need to tell them that you're trans. And here you are, an example of a girl telling her tea up front and being murdered for it. But they want to wonder why we keep those things to ourselves until we feel safe, which I think is the best way to go. Don't let people bully you or gaslight you into thinking that that is the best way to go, because honesty is not a bulletproof vest. It does not save you from violence. It does not save you from patriarchal violence. It does not save you from homophobic violence. It does not save you from violence. It does not. So, as a person who is the expert on your life and an expert on your safety and your surroundings, when you are safe. And if you're in a situation where you don't feel safe, like you can't tell your trans experience, you can't tell people that you're trans, do not tell them. Don't tell them. Wait till you are in a safe situation. Wait till you're in a situation where you're texting back and forth, maybe texting. Wait till you are in a safe situation. Because in my experience, I've been living trans for a very long time, since I'm about 13, 14 years old. And in my experience, men don't get violent unless there are onlookers. I have never told a man my tea alone and he got violent with me. Now, this is an anecdotal experience, but this isn't something that I, talk to other trans women about. And this is nothing is absolute. I'm sure somebody has a story. But most of the time, when dudes get violent, it's because there's somebody else that's watching. There's an audience. There's somebody involved that might know, that might see them. They're embarrassed by not being able to tell that you're trans, and now you have put their masculinity in question. And here you are, the person that is embarrassing me, and I have to actually fight you and harm you in order to kind of save face and save my reputation, because of course I can't let you disrespect me in this way, regardless if rationally if you disrespected me or not. I feel you disrespected me by just existing, and I'm not being able to tell that you are a man, or that you are what that you used to be a man, or da 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 da, whatever. This is the experience that this is my experience, and I'm pretty sure if you are a trans woman and you have lived life as long, if you have been living a trans woman, tell me, what do y'all think? Have y'all experienced that? Has a guy gotten violent with you when he was alone, or was it with somebody when you were people were watching? Like there was people around, there was cisgender girls around, there was other cis men around, there was people around that added to the heightened sense of I have to prove myself. Is that the experience that you experienced? Let me know if I'm telling the truth. So, in that scenario, the cisgender woman and the transgender woman is kind of navigating the space. It had to be others watching them for them to go ham. Absolutely. Um, there are other people in the space. If you are normally, there are new people in the space, you're enjoying the conversation, thumbs up. If it's old people, go ahead and thumbs up now. I completely believe what you're seeing. People often do a little extra with an audience, and that's just that's natural situation. But especially in this situation, where they get embarrassed, and even with cisgender women as well. Just because you embarrass me in front of my homeboys, now I gotta call you out, kind of. Oh well, fuck you then, you fat bitch, or fuck you then, you high yellow bitch. You ain't all that anyway. They gotta turn it. That's why you ugly in the face. I just liked you because I just tried to holler at you because you had a good booty, a big booty, and da 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 da. They love, and especially online. I know y'all experience that a lot, where you tell a dude you're not interested, and he immediately try to act like you were the ugliest thing that ever walked the face of the earth, even though he just tried to holler at you. But he make it seem like, oh, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, they do that stuff in person, especially when when they're in front of people. They have to now embarrass you. They have to now roast you, and sometimes that turns into now they have to be violent with you. All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's go to the next two cases. All right, so the Dublin prison in California, one of the few federal all-women prison in the United States, it was nicknamed the Rape Club. It was exposed through federal documents that detailed how inmates' allegations against members of the mostly male staff were ignored and set aside, how prisoners could be sent to solitary confinement for reporting abuse, and how officials in charge of preventing and investigating sexual misconduct were themselves accused of abusing inmates and neglecting their concern. In one incident, a female inmate said a man who was her prison work supervisor taunted her by remarking, "Let the games begin," when he assigned her to work with the maintenance foreman she accused of rape. Another worker claimed that he wanted to get inmates pregnant. The warden of the prison, the man in charge of Dublin, kept nude photos of on his government issued cell phone of women that accused him of assaulting them. So this is in prison, y'all. This is in prison. These are cisgender women at this prison talking about the scenario that they're in, where these mainly men prison staff are taking advantage of their authority, and just like police officers, just like that police officer in Ohio who was raping black women, multiple black women, and over a long period of serial raping black women over a long period of time, y'all, and finally got caught using his power. He's a police officer using his power and authority and in position as an officer to bully and take advantage of women. And this is what's happening in this particular prison. And so we hear that happening with cisgender women. Now let's talk about Passion Star. Passion Star was arrested and convicted of kidnapping because her boyfriend at the time didn't want to return a rental car that he had rented, and The salesperson, the guy, her boyfriend, takes the salesperson and drives him super, super, super far out. Now, Passion is in the back seat. So they both get charged with kidnapping. Now you tell me how that works. But they both get charged with kidnapping because you was in the car while your man was snatching up the motherfucking salesman for the rental car. But anyway, they give her 20 years. And so she goes to prison. Over her stint in multiple prisons across the state of Texas, Passion said in her federal lawsuit that she was regularly raped, beaten, threatened, and forced into sexual relationship with inmates and COs, which are the correction officers. She was also at one point repeatedly slashed with a razor by other inmates, by another inmate, and an attack that required 36 stitches on her face and forehead. In her lawsuit, she alleges numerous current and former employees with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, where they were indifferent to her plight, taking little or no action, despite her filing many complaints and reportedly seeking out refuge for more than a decade. So imagine you are in prison being raped, sliced up, wore out for how did he get nude photos of these women? Their stories sound shaky. Okay, so just the nature of that question is so dumb that I'm gonna have to block you. I'm annoyed by this conversation. I'm annoyed. Just the nature. Just the nature of that question. You don't need to be here. It's time for you to go. This clown is asking how women in a prison, how the warden of a prison has nude pictures of these women. Yeah, bye, sir, or whoever they are. No, thank you. I don't have time for that level of stupidity in my chat box. Anyway, so Passion is telling us, but let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. But these are now. I don't know if Van was a troll. I don't really care. I don't have time for that level of dumb. But these are the kind of stupid shit that men will say and do, like totally saying the most ridiculous shit. How could somebody that's a warding of a prison, the head boss in charge, get nude pictures of his inmates? The how really doesn't matter, because he should not have nude pictures of the inmates, period. It don't matter if it was consensual or whatever. Even if every woman in every prisoner said, okay, you can take nude pictures of me, he, as the warden of the prison, should not be taking and having nude pictures in his phone. He is the authority figure. He's the one that's not a criminal. He's the one that is the authority figure. It's just like these teachers having sex with their fucking kids, with these fucking kids not with their kids, but in with their students. Even if the students are consensually saying, yes, I want to fuck my teacher. Look at these little boys. What's that white lady that was fucking that little Mexican boy back in the 90s? I can't remember. Anyway, that married him when she got out of prison. He married him and they had children and shit. She done died now. But anyway, even if the little boy, 13, 15, 16, 17, says, oh, this is consensual. I want to have sex with my teacher. the teacher is wrong. Period. Because the teacher is the adult and the authority figure. Regardless if he says yes, if he's a boy, if it's a girl, you are the authority figure. You can't, that's wrong. It's not okay. Mary Kay Letourneau. Yes, that's who I'm talking about. Her. Trying to plant the seed of doubt in people's mind to invalidate an accuser's story in the name of being devil's advocate. And the devil don't need no damn advocates. Don't need none at all. That's crazy. It is sea lioning. It is that I talked about this before. Sea lioning is when people have no intention of, they will ask you dumbass questions just to waste your time. That was one of those questions. It's called sea lioning. Look it up. No regard to the blatant abuse of power. No regard at all. How can you even ask how? It sounds shaky. How did he get pictures of them in the phone? Motherfucker, the how doesn't matter. He shouldn't have them. But anyway, the Dublin prison, the women in Dublin prison who are being abused by these officers, Passion is also being abused in the prison that she's in, being attacked. So in the prison system that is supposed to be rehabilitation, it's supposed to be your gateway to bringing you back to society. It is actually causing women who more than likely are in scenarios that are traumatizing, that lead them to prison. It is actually causing more harm and more trauma while they're in prison. So you really traumatizing people, and instead of rehabilitating them, you are really traumatizing people who are already traumatized even more, and pretending that you're preparing for them to go back into the world with this new trauma that you gave them. Make it make sense. Make it make sense to me. Please make it make sense. So wanting to drop in and say, you look absolutely stunning this evening. Thank you so much, Rosa Sparks. Thank you so much. I feel greasy and hot. But, well, preserves your youth. So yes. So what is IPV? Intimate partner violence. Intimate partner violence. This connection between, we're making the connection between cis women and trans women in intimate partner violence and violence that we see in the world that affects particularly Black women, predominantly, disproportionately. Then after they are traumatized, they continue the behavior or develop other behaviors that land them back in the same predicament. Absolutely, Justin. That is what it is. And that's not exclusive to us, but we're centering us right now. Us as in Black trans women, Black cis women. All right, so let's talk about another version of that is abuse from the prison industrial complex. Let's talk about the neglect of a neglect of the prison and jail situation. So let's talk about Tanisha Chappelle. She's from St. Louis, Kentucky, but this happened in an Indiana jail. Tanisha Chappelle was arrested for shoplifting, and she was sent to an Indiana jail, not a prison, a jail. She complained about pain in her stomach, and she begged for 16 hours that she needed help. She begged for help for 16 hours. 16. Like it is on video camera, her begging for help while she's being in a holding cell. But they're ignoring her. Tanisha Chappelle dies of a metabolic acidosis. Now, metabolic acidosis it can it's two ways that it can be caused. Being poisoned with like antifreeze, or severe dehydration. Make it make sense. That's what the autopsy say. A metabolic acidosis. So, did she have severe dehydration, or was she poisoned by somebody giving her antifreeze? But it is a having too much acid in your body, and there's only way it could happen: severe dehydration or poison. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. But she died in the custody of police. She dies in the custody of police. Now we go to the trans example, the trans woman example, Layleen Polanco. She was being held for a $500 bail as a result of a year-old prostitution charge. Now, I want y'all to understand, $500 ain't shit. So a $500 bail. It's so annoying. On June the 7th, 2019, Polanco was found unresponsive in her cell after she goes into an epileptic seizure. Now, on camera, the guards check in on her and laugh at her having a seizure and ignore it and, assume that she'll be all right. She just having a seizure, or I don't know what they assumed, but they didn't try to help her and ignored her and laughed on camera. An hour later, a custodial staff member tries to revive her using CPR. And then a defibrillator was used by a member of the medical staff once they arrived. She was pronounced dead. She was 27. So in the custody of police, you have a seizure and they laugh. They don't care about you. Now, this is a line in parallel with even outside of the prison. When Black women, statistically, the research is there. Check it out. Look for it. I'm not about to steer y'all wrong. Research is there. There's a whole book called Medical Apartheid. So many things. So check out. That's a hard read, y'all, but long, hard ass read. But I got through it. Medical Apartheid. That talks about it. There is this like racist assumption that Black women don't feel the same level of pain as other races, particularly white races, and so doctors will not prescribe the medication. They will not believe them when they're saying they're in pain. Serena Williams had these kind of this. It don't matter how rich you are, poor you are. Serena had the same thing happen to her when she was in the process of her baby. She had an issue with her C-section, and she literally had to force them to check her out before she died. Now imagine the greatest athletes of all time, seriously, about to die from a blood clot because they weren't listening to her. She has a whole documentary about it. And so this is aligned with that. Like, we're telling you that something is wrong, there's a problem, and you're ignoring it. And then, or you see her, like you literally see her having an epileptic seizure and you laugh. You don't think that was transphobia that allowed them to laugh? If that was a cisgender person laying there, do you think that having a seizure that they would have just laughed? Maybe, I don't know, maybe. But it's hard for me to believe that y'all haven't experienced this before and y'all let this woman die. They don't see her as human. Absolutely. This reminds me of the 911 dispatcher that hung up on the lady in the Buffalo shootings. Absolutely. You are totally right, Brandon. If y'all don't know, there was a mass shooting in Buffalo, and one of the ladies in the store was calling the 911 dispatcher, and she was whispering because the shooter was in the building and she didn't want him to hear her and come shoot her. This was a mass shooter just killing motherfuckers. And she's a black girl and he's killing people based on race. So of course, when I call 911 on my phone, I'm gonna be whispering so he can't hear me and come shoot my black ass. So she's whispering, and the 911 officer is asking her, "Why are you whispering?" What? And hangs up on her. She has to call her boyfriend to tell him to call 911 to be taken seriously. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. All right, let's talk about secrets. Being murdered by your lover when you're being kept a secret. So in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now, I'm just giving you examples. These are not the only examples. You can search other examples of this. These are just examples that I thought were interesting. And so that y'all might not have heard of. There's other more popular examples. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Robert Marks, a 39-year-old assistant principal at a local school there, murdered his colleague, 40-year-old instructional specialist, Lintel Washington. She was pregnant with his child. She allegedly told Mark that she would reveal the affair to his wife. And so he murdered her. Let's look at the trans situation. 6 years after his involvement in a fatal robbery of one teenager, now 20-year-old Trayvon Hayes Miller of Sherwood, Arkansas, is going to prison for killing another teenager, Brayla Stone, a 17-year-old trans girl whom prosecutors say Miller murdered to cover up their sexual relationship. Friends and acquaintances told Sherwood police that Miller was afraid that people would think he was gay and that Brayla Stone had told him she was going to make their relationship public. So 2 scenarios. One with a trans woman, one with a cis woman. One involving a secret that the killer doesn't want to be out. Now, even transgender people, I've seen it and I heard it. They will look at that situation with Brayla Stone and say, well, she was kind of asking for it when she told him she was going to expose their relationship. Which it coming out of a trans person's mouth is the dumbest shit ever. But I've heard even trans people say, well, she kind of asking for it. But what I never see, I don't see those same kind of, I don't want to say never, sometimes, very rarely. I don't see those same kind of sentiments when cisgender women are exposing men. Like when we think about trans women exposing celebrities, and we think about, just trans women exposing, we just talked about Benzino and Shauna. When we see them exposing, it's always like, oh, why are they exposing? If you're a woman, it's nothing to expose, and da 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 da. They're judging instead of reading the cis man for stringing us along, and or asking why do we feel the need to expose. They love to say this will force people to kill you, da da da. But when cisgender women expose their secrets about their boyfriends or somebody they cheating with or whatever kind of secret that they have, they never use that as validation to murder them. They always say it still doesn't mean that you murder. It still doesn't mean that you kill. You're still wrong. But for trans people, it feels like it's always justification for our murders. Like if you are exposing him, girl, that's what happens. He's gonna kill you. Like that justifies you being murdered. That doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't justify anybody being murdered. You know, I don't think that that justifies that scenario. I just don't. What do y'all think? Let's talk about another element. This is not a all these people were black, but I want to talk about this scenario because I've heard this scenario. But this is one that's coming up to the top of my head. But this is not a black person. This is a Latinx couple or white Latinx. I don't know what their race. They ain't black, non-black. So Joshua Valum was dating his transgender girlfriend Mercedes Williamson in Mississippi. I've always thought that. Thought what? That's just that. This is too much. It's actually not justification. Thank you. Jerry Springer totally exploited trans women and has done major damage to the trans community. Hmm. Uh, there's a level of that I agree with, but narrowing it down to Jerry Springer as the only culprit of exploiting trans women, that was a whole movement of um talk shows. It wasn't just Jerry Springer, it was a whole movement of talk shows that exploited the idea of trans women. That it was a whole sensational movement of talk shows. It wasn't just Jerry Springer. It was, yeah, I don't know what talk show did it that didn't do it. Jenny Jones, Maury, Sally, Donahue, Geraldo, yeah, all of that. Like they all did. And so it just they all were, y'all. Like they all were. Like it wasn't just him. Um I think his time slot made it important. I think his longevity made him important. Um, but that was a symptom. Why it's hard for me to pinpoint some major damage is because that was a symptom of the damage that was already there. A lot of people were saying Springer was their first exposure to trans. They talked about that in Disclosure. While that's why I said there's a level of it that I agree with, but it's not just him. It was the it was there was multiple people using transness as the sensational trope. Even Oprah, like it kind of steered back from like the early 90s. It's this thing where trans was so underground um that was the pop. That was the sensationalism. Especially during that era. This is 99. Even like Boys Don't Cry the movie. While I love the movie. I love that movie. It transness was the sensational thing at the time. And everybody was exploiting that dynamic of us coming out of the shadows. Um, a lot of people exploiting that, and it those things led to the shit that was happening in the 90s around trans visibility led to the shit that was happening in the early 2000s led to the era of this past decade that we just did. G.I. Joe become Bombshell Jane. That actually was in the 50s and 60s with Christine Jorgensen. That's literally a newspaper line of when she transitioned, when she went to Denmark and came back to the United States. That literally was the newspaper um, article headline. G.I. Joe, G.I. becomes Bombshell. Christine Jorgensen. The first white trans woman to get a sex change and it be sensationalized in America. There was people who like Edie, that Danish girl was named after that got an unsuccessful sex change, but apparently she was one of the first successful ones that became a star in America. It's always like that, yeah. And so anyway, um, Joshua Valum, after dating his girlfriend Mercedes Williamson for 2 years, meeting her family, her sister and her mother, um, he was a part of this little gang, and they found out that his girlfriend was trans, and they confronted him about it. He says, "No, she's not. That's a woman." Which he was telling the truth, but you know what he was trying to convey. And to prove to them that she was a woman, he confronted her. He already knew that she was trans. He had been dating her for 2 years. And in order to save face for his girlfriends, for his homeboys, he actually kills his girlfriend, Mercedes. I don't want y'all. That is sad. And he goes to prison. But it's sad because imagine you having a boyfriend for 2 years as a trans woman, especially a young one. I don't know about y'all, but when I was young, I was in love with love. I wanted to be in love and da 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 da. Imagine having a boyfriend for 2 years that has met your mama and your sister, that knows your tea, you're not worried about it, you feel safe around him. And then when his homeboys found out that you trans, he kills you. Imagine right before he kills her. And him and she don't know it's coming. Or she feels the vibe of coming. Somebody that has made her feel safe, that her guard is down, that she has slept with, that she has laid up and cuddled with, and she doesn't know that she's in of this type of level of violence that's going to end her life. That's powerful, y'all. That's wild. So nothing she did wrong. Nothing she did. He knew her tea. She was just being the girl. That's so sad. Um, what was the girl's name? I'm gonna ruin her last name. Gwen Arujo. I don't know if that's, excuse me, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but Gwen Arujo, um, she meets these three guys with her sister and her girlfriend. She ended up having three of them. She ended up having all three of them. They know her tea. Her being cool with the sister and the girl. The sister and the girl don't know that the boys had her, the trans woman. So she invites them to a party after the first meeting. Second meeting, she now the sister and the girl is trying to tell the trans girl to tell the boys her tea and to go in the bathroom and show them that you are trans. I thought that was a trans girl's cousin. I don't remember it being her cousin. I I thought it was in Texas. I can't remember the exact date, but I don't think it was her cousin. Um, but what the cisgender girl, while she's trying to convince the trans girl to tell the truth and tell them that what you are, she doesn't understand that they already know what she is, and they have made a pact of we just messing around. We don't need to talk about it. But now that the cisgender girl is pressing the issue, the cis men gotta be like pretending that they don't know that she's trans when they did know she was trans. Which leads to them taking it too far and them killing her and burying her. All three of them. And the cisgender girl knowing. We have to, and I'm saying this because we like to alienize trans women's experience from cisgender women experience, but it really aligns with cisgender women experience. Cisgender women dominate intimate partner violence. It is usually our partners, people that we are intimate with, people that we know. It's not some stranger. It's usually somebody that we know. And intimate don't necessarily mean romantic. It could be anybody that you're intimate with. It could be a client. It could be a friend. It could be a boyfriend. It could be a husband. It could be anybody that you are intimate with. I appreciate your platform, Diamond. It's such a task to have these conversations addressing Black femicide that is inclusive of all women in cis spaces. Absolutely. We have to have those conversations because our silos is why we are not. Look, like there are three things that we all should agree on. That I think that have the same people fighting against us. Trans rights, abortion rights, reproductive justice rights, and voter suppression. Cis women pressure men into being performative a lot of times. So CL, while that statement is true, and we have to hold them accountable for when they play that role, but I want you to understand that that is patriarchy as well. Cis women are aligning themselves with patriarchy. That's them wanting to be, not wanting to be. That's them doing what society has taught them to do, and that is police your manhood and your womanhood. So I am saying you are not a woman to these cisgender men because I am supposed to police your manhood and make sure I gatekeep you out of womanhood so you don't be fooling these unknowing cisgender men. You see how patriarchy puts her in a position to be that gatekeeper? Like, because these are the rules. I know that these men are straight men. These men are for me. Because I'm a real woman and you are not. And so I am the gatekeeper. I'm being the gatekeeper in this scenario to say you are not a woman. You are not a real woman. You are pretending to be a woman, and you are not going to fool these men. And I take it upon myself to make it my job to expose you, and you're not going to fool them in front of me. Get what I'm saying? So it is patriarchy that puts them in that situation. So when we talk about, I know the men, the manosphere love to say, when are we going to talk about toxic femininity? Well, usually when women are being toxic, it's not toxic femininity. It is them perpetuating toxic patriarchal standards. When Harpo came to Celie and was complaining about Sophia being too feisty and not doing what he wanted her to do, guess who told him to beat her? Celie, right? Celie, not knowing any better, thinking that that's what you're supposed to do. That's what happens to her. If she getting out of line, beat her. That wasn't Celie being a toxic feminine person. That was Celie being a patriarch. That was Celie doing saying what she has lived in, of how to get a woman to do what you want her to do. You beat her. That's what always has happened to me. Me as in I'm Celie. You feel what I'm saying? And so these toxic traits, sometimes I won't say it's necessarily I won't say necessarily toxic masculinity, but it's that patriarchal rules that they are living by that leads to toxicity. These toxically masculine behaviors, these toxically pro-patriarch behaviors. You look amazing. I'll do it. I'm just hot because my air conditioning is out. So I look oily. They're supposed to come fix it tomorrow, but I think they're lying because it's Friday and I don't think they're going to come fix it on Saturday. So it'll probably be Monday. Because I'm just thinking about it's Friday. Y'all motherfuckers ain't going to come fix this fucking thing on Saturday. But maybe, because they do be out here fixing stuff on Saturday. So maybe, I don't know. Definitely not on Sunday. But yes. So let's give an example. Give me an example of some like a woman who is upholding patriarchal standards. Oh, you know what movie is beautiful? That is, it's a tongue-in-cheek movie, but it kind of beautifully depicts this type of behavior. The Stepford Wives. Like the ending of Stepford Wives, it was amazing because that is that. When we think about, if you watch Handmaid's Tale, when we think about Serena Joy, when we think about women like her, it's not that they're toxic feminine. They are toxic. They are fitting their mold of toxic patriarchy. I am supposed to be this. There's going to be a separation of good and bad woman in a toxically patriarchal world. It's going to be respectable women who act a certain way, who act a certain level of femininity to get the respect of men and earn the respect of men. And then there, the Madonna and horror complex, the Michelle Obama, Megan Thee Stallion. You know, you can either Michelle Obama is the respectable woman, Megan Thee Stallion is the not, or the City Girls is the not. You have these like dichotomy women, and if you're acting a certain way, you get the respect of men, and if you act a certain way, you don't get the respect of men. That's still, even if women are saying it and making these rules, they are the one who are upholding these kind of patriarchal rules. Do you see what I'm saying? They can be just as much the gatekeepers in upholding these rules. And it doesn't mean that you don't hold them accountable. It's not like I'm saying, oh, that's still men doing that to them. No, they're choosing to apply these rules to their life and their opinion of other women. And so, because there is a benefit of that. There is a benefit to for women to police other women. An extreme version would be like Handmaid's Tale. Stepford Wives would be that's an extreme version where this woman, because she believed in those things, she used her skill and her talent to make women into robots because she wanted that world of, 50s and feminine women in dresses, and because she believed in that life. Y'all remember the Stepford Wives? Did y'all watch that? It was a really, really good movie. Funny. Bette Midler, Nicole Kidman, um, Glenn Close. And so Glenn Close character is what I'm talking about. Glenn Close, she wanted to fit in that woman husband, that woman mold, that being feminine and hosting and ladylike and da da da. So she wanted to create that world. And so this is a fictional extreme story, but that's what happens in real life as well. There are women who want to who are invested in those rules about respectability politics, about how a woman should dress, how a woman should look, how a woman should do this and da 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 da, how she should be subservient, i.e., Claire Huxtable's feminist rant. Hmm. Explain that a little bit more so I can understand why you're making the comparison to Claire Huxtable feminist rant. Explain that because I don't see the connection. But explain it so I can understand what you mean. Just like the wife of Handmaid's Tale, written the book that started Gilead. Yes, that's Serena Joy. Totally right. She is quintessential woman. And um Aunt Lydia. Aunt Lydia too. They're put in positions of power to harm you. No, no, no. I know the episode. I'm trying to see the connection. The connection that you were making. Are you saying that that was toxic patriarchy? I don't think that that was toxic patriarchy. Her rant wasn't that. Um, would you include Phyllis Schlafly? Like Phyllis Schlafly is the queen of that. Absolutely. Yes, y'all are making the connection because that is a perfect example. Phyllis Schlafly, um, all those people exactly. Phyllis Schlafly is. If you don't know who Phyllis Schlafly is, she is the woman who is like a conservative right wing, homemaker who fought to keep the ERA um, from being ratified, like against women's rights. So yes, it is. It is quite interesting. I thought that it was, but you have me thinking otherwise. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get you to explain it so we can talk through it because I don't understand why you think that that is one. Um, because that actually is the opposite. She's actually doing the opposite of um, what I'm talking about. She's actually putting. We're talking about women against women, women against women being the gatekeeper and the enforcers of patriarchal rule. That was actually Claire bucking up against the two men coming together. Not Cliff wasn't coming with him, but he was trying to get Cliff to come to understand what he was saying about a woman's role, and Claire checked him about the woman's role. Yeah, that was an example of that. But we're talking about women upholding, women being the Elvin. That would be a better women who are in the position of Elvin, trying to tell other women or other people how to perform in a patriarchal way. Women do it to men all the time. Women say to men, um, "What is some toxic feminine? You're supposed to be." like if they say something, they're influencing their man to do some type of toxic, violent stuff just in the name of her. You should go beat his ass. You're letting him disrespect me. How dare you? What kind of man are you? You should go beat him up. She's inciting violence in him to protect her honor, which is connected to she's connecting that to his manhood. That is a patriarchal way of navigating the world. And so she is pushing him to be violent. Anita Bryant was one of those. Absolutely. Anita Bryant definitely was one of those. Yes. And her catalyst was homosexuality, anti-homosexuality. This is not this. We want to go back to the good old days. This is us wanting to, this is not the natural way to be. Women are supposed to be this, men are supposed to be this, and these homosexuals are coming in and messing that up. So her respectable platform was anti-homosexuality, but that's still she is still being the patriarch in that situation, being the upholding the patriarchal rule, not being the patriarch, upholding the patriarchal rule in that scenario. Another good example in media of women upholding masculinity is Mona Lisa Smiles. I know what movie you're talking about. That Julia Roberts, something that Stylz girl. I haven't really watched it to examine it. It was too many white people. There was too many white girls in there for me to really get into it for real, and it wasn't doing enough for me to keep me. Anybody watch The Crown? Anybody watch The Crown? They explore some of these patriarchal themes. Yes, I remember the movie. I just haven't, not enough for me to get into it. They explore patriarchal things. When do y'all remember? Do y'all watch The Crown? Has anybody watched The Crown? Put a number one. Okay, so do y'all remember? So Ray, do you remember when it was the Steed episode? It was the Steed episode when Prince Charles was picking, when they were pushing Prince Charles to pick Princess Diana as his wife, even though he was in love with Camilla. And they took Margaret Thatcher out, and she was not prepared for that holiday that they were on. But they brought You Crying Like a Bitch. That's a great example, Maisha, of something cis women can say to men if they show their emotion. Why are you crying like a bitch? Man up. Why you crying like a female, yo? Stop being a fucking bitch. You man up. They say that to little boys. A lot of times, toxic masculinity is conditioned in little boys through their mothers. A lot of times, because the mother thinks that this is the way I prepare my son to be a man in this harsh world. But yes, when they brought Princess Di on holiday with them, and she was doing everything right, and her grandmother, who was friends with the royal family, was like, "Yo, this is the most important time of your life. Yo, this is the important test of your life, and you can't fail this." Her grandmother was the person putting her in this this was a situation that was horrible for her. Now, but to the grandmother, you're about to be a princess. You're about to be the queen. This is the next king in line, and you are about to be the queen. And this is your opportunity. So everybody who was pushing Diana to be in this toxic relationship, she doesn't know that it's toxic. She doesn't know yet until she get in it. But every woman around her that was pushing her on her side, not the queen and them, because they just of course they pushing the patriarchy because monarchy is rooted in patriarchy. But her family, Princess Diana's family, how they were getting her prepared to learn who to curtsy to. Remember, they had to get her prepared really, really quick, and they put the onus on her grandmother to teach her everybody who she was supposed to curtsy first once she became princess. Because once she became princess, she now has people that she don't have to curtsy to. Remember when she came in the room and she was curtsying to the wrong people, and Margaret was like, "Bitch, you don't curtsy to her. She's the hell. You curtsy to me first. You curtsy to her first, and me next." Da, da, da. All these rules. Her grandmother was the person that was the kind of the toxic person who, I don't want to say toxic person. She was the one who was upholding the rules, like telling her, "This is how you're supposed to be. This is how you win it." It's on my list and we'll watch it one day. Example, you crying. The closet I got with Netflix. The closet I got was the Netflix documentary about Jimmy Savile. I don't think I watched that. What about equating joy with gay? Example, telling men that they are gay if they eat desserts. Anybody that's doing anything like that. Anybody. That shit like that is stupid. Royalty can be a gilded cage, crown, a bit of a collar. Absolutely. Yes, definitely. So these are the things that we have to make sure we are paying attention to when we are watching. Um, when your mother is pushing you to get married and you don't want to get married, that is toxic patriarchy. You don't want to get married, you got a dream to be a doctor, and she like, why don't you just get you a good husband? Get you a doctor husband and have some babies. That is putting you in your place as a woman. Even if that's what you want to do eventually, making that the priority is toxic patriarchy. Making that the priority when you don't want it to be. Now, if you're choosing to be that on your own volition, yes, that is okay. If you're choosing to do that, that's the dream of what you want to do. Great, that's on you, and that's great. But if you don't want to do it, and the world is pressuring you to do that, the world, your mama, your grandmama, your boyfriend, all that kind of stuff, that is patriarchy telling you put yourself in the woman position that you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be a mother. You're supposed to take care of home. Supposed to give me children and be stuck in the house nurturing and raising those children while I go out and make the money. That is traditional patriarchal gender roles. And there is a constant push for you to be in those roles if you are in a cis heteronormative um, I had a brain fart. If you're in a cis heteronormative situation with your people, with your partner, and this is not just man and woman. There are tons of queer people who try to mimic cis het rules. You go on TikTok right now. You'll hear some gay dude sounding dumb talking about I like masculine men, not no bottoms acting all feminine. You might as well be a woman. I, I don't want no woman. I want a man. Or I'm the bottom, so I'm supposed to stay home and get and he pay all the bills. It's all kind of these things that kind of you hear studs do it all the time. I'm supposed to take over. I'm a stud, so I'm supposed to take care of my woman, and I pay all the bills. She ain't got to do nothing. She just stay at home and chill because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what a real man do. But I come in and do it better than men. Do you know how many studs is on TikTok selling that patriarch dream in a queer relationship? Girl, get out of here. Silliness. The mother from Titanic. Absolutely. What's her name? The actress name is Kate Winslet. What's the character name? Um, Rose. Rose. Yeah, Rose had a patriarch mama. Definitely. A patriarchal mama. Definitely. That's a great example. Hey, I don't know who that is. Nini 99. Is that Sunshine? I think that is that Sunshine. I don't know if that's your picture. It looks like Sunshine's picture. What other? What other patriarchal women? The mama from the Goonies. That's the old one. I was watching Monster in Law, and she was one. But yes, I wanted to share some of these cases of violence against women, and I wanted to share it. The reason why I shared those cases was because they were so similar in their elements of why they were murdered and why they got killed. I'm not a rational reason, but some of the reasons why men will say they killed a person, and how each one of those pairs of cases had a cisgender woman and a transgender woman in it. So a lot of times we like to separate, like I said, we like to separate from trans people or separate from cis people. But when it comes to intimate partner violence, we are all dealing with the same pool of men that has been reared in this same toxic masculinity. And sometimes those niggas is crazy and can lend to killing us. And that's something that we all are against in this situation, in this world, in this living situation. We all have the potential to be harmed by our intimate partner. Same thing with you gay niggas who are dating these straight men. Honey, you think they won't off your ass? Do you know how many gay men have been murdered because they think you're gonna expose them? When I was younger, this gay boy met this dude met this dude on the phone chat line and took a cisgender girl with him to meet this boy that he was meeting on chat line. Baby, that straight boy killed both of them and burned them in the van. Both of them. The gay boy and the cis woman. He said, "Oh, y'all want to play games." So I'm going to shoot and burn both of y'all motherfuckers. All because you didn't come over here by yourself to suck my dick. You wanted to bring the fish with you? Oh, okay. Where you out? That doesn't justify the murder, but this is his logic. The mama from Tyler Perry movies with the fine chocolate man, aka all all the mamas from Tyler Perry movies. They all usually toxic patriarch. J Lo playing an ambiguous white woman. Oh, child. Honey, she was playing she was playing a Latina. They called her a Latina, but this is when she was doing her crossover. When she was doing her rom-com crossovers. Oh, Eagles fan make me feel like I'm at the church pew. Jesus. One of our friends from back in the day, this happened to her. Rest in peace, straight up. Mm-hmm. Jesus. Precious is the name. I ran into this dude in the early 2000s that came to my job with a knife, straight trade. They will get y'all together too. They will get y'all together. Get y'all together. And then they don't have the social. We don't talk about this enough either. I haven't thought this thought all the way through. So if I don't get it all right, excuse me, but we can work through it together. But it's just coming to mind. And this is just a social theory. And y'all tell me if y'all agree or if y'all don't agree or if y'all think it might be true. One of the things that I have noticed in my life, there is this thing that exists socially. It's kind of like rule book. This I know is real. That idealistically, there is a chivalry that is ingrained in men. You are not supposed to hit women. There are some women. There are some women who. I mean, there are some men who, no matter what happens, they're just not gonna hit a woman. You see what I'm saying? There is this chivalry that is there that says, I've been raised to not hit women, so I'm not gonna hit women. And there's some men who don't give a fuck about that and will beat your ass. Right? But on average, more than not, okay? I don't want to say 50-50, but I think it's more than not. There are men who adhere to the idea that as a man, I don't hit women. But what happens when you are a trans woman, or what happens when you are a trans woman is now the anger that I might have towards a woman, I can actually enact that violence on you because you're not a real woman. I can actually beat your ass. I can oscillate from treating you like a woman and treating you like a man at will whenever I feel like it's appropriate. Like I can, if I want to sexually use you, I can treat you like a woman. And I can uphold these things of, oh, I'm supposed to fuck you, you're supposed to suck my dick, I'm supposed to do all these things, these boy things, because you the woman, you the girl, I'm the man. So this is what I do. But as soon as you do something wrong, I can beat your ass like a man because you're not really a woman. Have y'all experienced that? I don't know. There is a level, and I think it happens with I think it's this attack on I think it's an attack on femininity. It's there is a innate rage against femininity, and it can come out against butch queens, it can come out against trans women, it can come out against cisgender women, but there is something, and we all can get it. We can all get it. We can all get it. But there is an element of protection if you're a cis woman, because it's not publicly okay for them to beat your ass. You see it all the time. Like when we see videos of dudes beating up girls. Now, of course, we see videos of them just beating them up and nobody doing them. But there's a lot of times we see, yo, man, that's a female. Like even on what's Friday when Debo smacks Nia Long, or not Nia Long. Is it Nia Long? Or Felicia. Felicia, ain't that Felicia's sister? Anyway, when he smacks her, Craig said, yo, Debo, that's a female. What the fuck you doing? There's a chivalrous duty for them to stop it. Got it? But when you are a trans woman or when you are a butch queen, now I know butch queen are men, so it kind of doesn't match, but because of that feminine aspect and that hate for femininity, I think it matches a little bit. But definitely with a trans woman, I can go all out because you're not a real woman. No matter how feminine you look, no matter what surgeries you done got, just because I know that you're not a cisgender woman, I can immediately go back to feeling like you are a man whenever it behooves me to do that. Whenever I need you to be a man and I can beat your ass and take my frustrations out on you, I can do it. I see I see trans women in abusive relationships with men where that happens all the fucking time. Like they make all of these rules about how their trans girlfriend is supposed to navigate the world. You need to clean up the house. You need to decorate this house. It needs to be clean, and you need to cook. You need to do all this woman stuff. But as soon as I want to beat your ass, you back to a man. Anyway, I see that all the time. I'll chew on it a little bit, but yeah. What y'all think? I'm talking about this glow. This is not glow. This is motherfucking hotness. I see how men think they're logic. I see it all the time. They can manipulate you and isolate back and forth to that. And it's easier for us to see it on like a sexual level because dudes definitely do it on a sexual level. Where honey, they will be she. As soon as they get thirsty for the cock, honey, they turn into bitches. A predator will seek out easy prey. That's why they attack femininity. And that's why they seek. And also that's why they seek other type of women outside of black women. Because think about it, like when Malcolm X was saying that the black woman is the most disrespected woman on the planet, da 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 da. If you believe that and you believe that that's the case, if this is the world that black women live in, then there is a roughness that we are going to have. Okay, there is going to be a thick skin of, because we constantly got to fight people off because they're trying to harm us, whether it be physically, mentally, microaggressions. There's going to be a toughness and a feistiness that come with us. It's like somebody growing up in the streets of Chicago compared to them growing up in some rural country, very low violence place. Like, though they're going to have two different experiences and two different attitudes towards life, attitudes towards people. There's going to be a rough around the edges, no matter if you're a woman, man, whatever. That happens when you grow up in a tough, harsh environment where you got to keep up on your wits and make sure no motherfuckers trying to fuck with you. And I think women Black women are constantly in that situation where we didn't have the protection like white women did of the police. And I'm telling y'all, there is an amazing book called Y'all need to watch. Y'all need to read this book. Listen, it's on Audible too, so y'all can listen to it. It's so good, y'all. It's teaching me so much. It is called. I forgot the name of it, so I got to go back. And, They Were Her Property by Stephanie E. Jones Rogers. Like it's about white women owning slaves, but it also gives these social nuances, y'all. These social nuances that gave them power, even sometimes against the men, to protect themselves against the men. And it put them in a position in certain, not in total power, but in certain circumstances, they had a way to protect themselves. Black women didn't have that, right? They didn't have that. And then another book that I was reading, that book that I always pull out, Race, Sex, and Love, where they were talking about Black women when they were trying to get rights, so men couldn't just rape any woman out in the streets because they didn't used to have laws, yo. They didn't used to have laws that define rape and shit. Do you see what I'm saying? They like rapes were happening. So they had to create laws. You feel what I'm saying? So niggas was out here just taking pussy with no legal consequences. And the white women were trying to fight for these laws to be in place that if you raped a girl, you would get harshly treated. But the white men were pushing back, saying, if we do that, now that we gave the Black girls citizenship, they can start suing and criminalizing us if we rape them. If we give all girls the power, then and now mind you, I want to give you a little bit more context in this conversation. In these conversations, they were talking about 12, 13, 10, 11 years old. We are not talking about women. We are talking about, they are trying to create laws to protect young girls from being raped by these older men. White girls, Black girls, girls, period. And the white men were pushing back on the white women, saying, you motherfuckers is trying to make these laws to where these Black girls can sue us. What are you doing if we rape them? Like literally, it's on the books. Like it's in letters and journals and court docs. They were ridiculous. It was ridiculous, and y'all need to read it. It was ridiculous. It's scary to teach that moms. It's scary to think that moms are teaching their sons this toxic shit and they learn it from somewhere. Yes, absolutely. Dads, if that, and that's speaking from a point of single parent homes. But dads is doing it. Two parent homes is doing it. It's just what it is. But yes, what else? But yes, my point in saying that was Black women have this, there's a toughness. There's going to be a toughness, and this is we're not a monolith, so there's going to be some people who don't align with this. But there's some social themes that are going to be reoccurring just based on the nature of our culture and how it treats Black women. So they go to those other races because we have built up this thing to be able to say, nigga, get the fuck out of here. You ain't about to wear us out. And so they go to these other races who haven't built up that toughness, who more align with patriarchal rules. Let me go to the white girl who will run all over her. Let me go to the Latina girl who will let me run all over her. Let me go to the Asian girl who will let me run all over her. And I'm not gonna pick one of the feisty ones. I'm not gonna pick one of the feisty white girls. Y'all too much like the Black girls. I'm not gonna pick one of the feisty Latinas. Y'all too much like the black girls. I'm not gonna pick one of the spicy Asians. No, I'm gonna pick the nice, sweet, subservient ones that got a little racial guilt that I can play up on. Oh, woe is me. I'm the poor black man dealing with racism. Are you racist? No, baby. I like BBC. I'm not racist. Let me suck your cock and give you mixed babies to prove to you how not racist I am. And these black men is like, yeah, they treat me like a king. We was kings. you black girls, you black girls don't do nothing but nag and don't do nothing and wear your weave. And where all your weaves, y'all can't grow your hair, your edges is falling out. And here my snow bunny is with her long blonde tresses with lights in it. Her long blonde tresses that I can pull while I hit it from the back. And I can run her credit into the ground. Oh. But you know, they pick those kind that they can run over. Both of them is fetishizing each other. White women is fetishizing them. They feel like, oh, this is this is my way to negate slavery by letting you ravage my white pink pussy to prove to you that I am not racist. I can solve racism by creating mixed babies. It ain't even supposed to be no phone past the intake. Amen. Hey, Diamond, out of curiosity, what was the name of the book you mentioned that was the precursor to the book Belly of the Beast Politics? Da, 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 da. Careful library. It is called Fearing the Black Body by Sabrina Strings. Shonette, how are you? How are you? How are you? Fearing the Black Body. By, yes, Sabrina Strings. Yes, Sabrina Strings. I've been waiting for a girl like you. How's it going? I feel great. Other than being hot, I actually feel good. I ate a great breakfast this morning at Snooze. I went to Gucci and bought some cute glasses. Aren't these cute? They're so cute. They have this little black and white little thing on them. I love it. What else did I do? I went to where else did I go? I went to Marshalls. I went to Marshalls and they had some. I need some, not new furniture, but I need some new, just some new stuff for my house. I'm throwing some stuff out, and I need some new stuff. So I took some pictures of some new shit. It's tan though. Yes, I am tan from laying on the beach, baby. It'll be gone. Well, no. It's not gonna be gone. It's May in Texas. It's about to be hot as fuck. I will be in New York. I might as well fucking stay in New York. This June, I'm gonna be in New York for 3 events. Like in the beginning, I'm flying and then coming back. Then in the middle, I'm flying and then coming back. And then the end, flying and coming back. Maybe New York loves the dog for pride. I used to didn't like going to New York, but I actually love it now. Now that I know more black people there that can show me where all the black shit to do. I've been waiting for a girl like you. But all right, y'all. That is about all I wanted to talk about. Make sure y'all thumbs up if y'all are listening. We are recording Marsha's play. This is random, but do any of y'all use retinol or vitamin C serum on your skin routine? I I have heard that vitamin C is um, can be funny acting on black people's skin, so I would be careful in that. But if you use it and it's good, go for it. But vitamin C can do some kind of bleachy witching shit on your skin. Have you weighed in on Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard intimate partner violence? I have weighed in on that. Now, I don't like to be in white folks' business because that looks like some good white folks' business. But let me tell you what I said, and this is the only commentary that I gave about that. Let me see. Why am I not? Where did I say that? All right, so this is what I said about the Johnny Depp situation. Let me see. He's bullying her using his money, power, and fandom. I think both of them motherfuckers is toxic. I think he's doing that too, but I also think that she was kind of shitty and toxic too. I think both of them were tired and late, and that's why I said, "Oh, wipe his business." But this is what I said. Baby, the way these men are foaming at the mouth and getting erections from finally having a toxic, abusive woman to prop up as the example in this Johnny Depp case, They think it's a see, y'all, the women are toxic too. We get abused too. They think it's that kind of moment. As if we don't know that women, especially white women, could be toxic too. If they actually listen to domestic violence activists and listen to their work and engage with their work, they would know that it actually includes abused men too. Y'all men still statistically and through the social power structure dominate as the abusers. The numbers don't lie. Yet instead of men who don't abuse trying to hold the men that do abuse accountable, y'all want to spotlight this high profile case of a white woman being just as toxic as her male abuser. But y'all really don't care about abuse of women or men. Y'all just are vengeful because the gains and notoriety of the Me Too movement, this is y'all backlash response to the Me Too movement. Similar to the racial backlash that got us Trump. It's just based in gender and not in race. The simmering anger against women, feminists, is bubbling over into everything. Roe versus Wade conversation, Kevin Samuels, Johnny Depp. These are very gendered social issues. The incels are having a field day frolicking in the Sigmundfreude of these issues. Y'all ain't slick, we see it. And that's my thoughts. Amber doesn't have to worry about representing all white women. Come on, Chanel. Shanette, like they would say about black women being toxic. Come on, hallelujah, glory. Yes, 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 yes. I say it all the time. White women, white men, white people, white children, white people in general have the privilege of individualism. When they shoot up and do um, mass shootings, we don't say, "Oh my God, that's a reflection of all of them," which it actually is. But we don't see that kind of critique. We don't see them saying, "Where is the fathers? Where is the mothers?" We give them excuses for theirs. That's just a lone wolf. He was working on his own. But a black person doing anything, negative or positive, let's not be um, anything, negative or positive. The negative, everybody want to say it's a reflection of our culture. The positive, we want to take credit for all the positive things. They make us look good. Oh, the Obamas make us look good. When they will throw you under a bus to keep themselves rich as well. Um, which they did. um, yeah, good or positive. We try to make it about all of us. It ain't gonna be just if we do something, it's gonna be that's just how they are. A credit to the race, exactly. Good or bad. I don't want to just say the bad stuff, the good stuff. We try to make it about all of us. And shit, it ain't about all of us. But we don't have that luxury to be individuals. Ta-da. Ooh oh I e ooh ooh oh I e ooh oh I e ooh ooh oh oh I e. Wake me up. A microcosm of continued misogyny. Can you feel it? Feel it? Can you feel it? Feel it? Hey, Camille. Most of the negative attention from online are from Most of the negative attention from online are from women. I don't know what you mean by that. La, 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 la. What movie is that from? La, 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 la. And who wrote the song? La, 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 la. Who wrote the whole album? La, 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 la. Female fans. Interesting. Yeah, I'm only seeing the dudes. You stumped me with that one. I give you a hint. See, um, that's the song. La, 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 la. I'm trying to think of. Okay. Um, the main actress is Cicely Tyson. La 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 what else? It is old. It is old. It's older than definitely older than me. Mhm. Ricky and Maury were actually first to do it. Miss Jane Pittman, no. Mm-mm. Nope, 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 nope. Let's see what other hint. So the main actress is Cicely Tyson. Um, she herself was a phone trying to uphold patriarchy. Oh, you're going to tell the world you are a victim of domestic violence. No one is going to believe you over me. They're going to take my side. Yes. Yep. She's taking a very masculine, narcissistic, that is classic narcissism, abuse. The main character was Richard Pryor. That's the second hint. La 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 la. Oh, this is a good one. Usually y'all be on it. This must have been a hard one. Busted Loose. Yes, that's the movie. It is a rom-com, a romantic comedy with Richard Pryor and Cicely Tyson. Cicely Tyson being the lead woman and Richard Pryor being the lead man. And y'all should watch the movie if y'all never seen the movie. Y'all need to watch it. It is so good. It is a comedy, a good comedy. And it's a dark skinned lead in the fucking 70s. A dark skinned Dark-skinned woman love interest in the 70s. How groundbreaking is that? Like a dark skin, not kind of medium brown or dark skin. Cicely Tyson dark skin. That broke ass books. Roberta Flack did the soundtrack. She did. She did do the soundtrack, the whole soundtrack. Roberta Flack. What's that? Um, what's my favorite Roberta Flack song? That song, I always forget how to start off. You said in the dark. Something about the moon. What is that song? The first time. I always forget how it starts. Ever I saw your face. I can't remember. um, oh. I can't remember. But yes, that's my favorite Roberta Flack song. The first time ever I saw your face. Moon and the stars. I cannot remember how that melody goes. The first time ever I let me see the words. There's a different day to the dark, and in the sky, my love. I can't remember the melody, but that's my favorite Roberta Flack song. The Chinese hoe girl, when she was trying to give, Richard Pryor some coochie. Speaking of performers, I love the interview you did with Tommy Ross. I had never heard her prior to that. You never heard of her, period? Oh, that's good. I'm glad to introduce you out to people. Did you go on a binge of her performances? The Richard character was complex too, not just funny. Them kids changed him. Yeah, I love that movie. That movie is one of my favorite movies. Favorite movies. It really showed Richard Pryor in his acting bag, vulnerable. Loved it, loved it. And it really showed you the impact Richard had on comedic actors. Because a lot of the stuff that Richard did has been mimicked a lot in like Eddie Murphy movies, in a lot of people's movies. Like that scene going into the the Ku Klux Klan little rally or whatever, the Country Boys. Eddie did that a few times. Top of the world, looking down on creation is the only explanation I can find. From the love that I found ever since you've been around, your love with me at the top of the world. Y'all remember this? Y'all remember that? I'm on the top of the world, looking down on creation, and the only explanation I can find. I'm off the. Okay. It's the love that I found ever since you've been around. Your love puts me at the top of the world. Sister made a whole back just in there. Uh-huh. What song was she doing? I love my songs. In case you need a man, a love they understand, and that's alright for her. It's still not enough for me. I want my songs. Oh, she did Bag Lady. Oh, okay. I love when she do Bag Lady and bring the suitcases all out of the out on the stage. Bag Lady, you gon' miss your bus. Dragging all the bags like that. I guess nobody ever told you. All you must hold on to is you, is you, is you. One day, all the lights gonna get in your way. No, one day, all the lights gonna get in your way. Backlight, yeah, 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 yeah. When she laid her big ass coats on the ground and laid there and as if she in the bed. Yes, I love when she do that when she's doing muscles. Oh, especially if it's like a sickening feather coat. I want my songs. And then the music. Yes, come on, Diana. How many I live? Don't understand. That's all I have. Still ain't enough for me. Well, all right, y'all. Thumbs up. I will talk to y'all later. I am about to watch movies and take my ass to sleep. Take a bath. So while I'm, as y'all call it, dewy, take a bath, and I will chat with y'all later.